So Nigel, as you know, we are a small nation in the middle of Europe. So if we leave the EU, the most important question for us, will the big nations cooperate with us?
Now, you're not the only small nation in the middle of Europe, are you? There's one called Switzerland. You know, and Switzerland has struck a series of agreements with the European Union. Small argument at the minute over immigration and quotas, but essentially Switzerland has been a self-governing nation with a remarkable direct democracy form of their own self-government, who are not members of the European Union, who've even rejected membership of the European Economic Area and have carried on doing business. So I kind of think if the Swiss can do it, there's no reason why the Czech Republic can't do it. And remember this, key point, the European Union is the only part of the world in which people are told you cannot buy and sell goods from each other unless you're members of a political union. It is nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you know, there is an argument of many people that Switzerland is special. So we can't be like Switzerland. So could you say that if we leave the EU, for example, you British would still cooperate with us?
Well, Prague is pretty special. The Czech Republic's pretty... We're all special. We're all different. That's the point about Europe. Europe is not a sort of homogenous continent. It's a continent made up of extraordinary different people with different cultures, different histories. And I mean, you of all people, you know, having just had your divorce just a few years ago, you know, and established the Czech Republic and got rid of communism and let the Slovaks do what they want to do. And I mean, you know, come on, let's be realistic about it. Ultimately, trade is not determined by politicians. Trade is determined by consumers. I know this because I worked for 20 years in the real world before getting into politics. The customer is king, and people buy things if they like the product and trust its reliability, and trade goes on regardless of what idiot politicians think.
Mm. So, as a British politician, you wouldn't create any barriers to trade. So
I mean, you know, we are trying to open up, and even the EU in its own sclerotic way is trying to open up tariff-free trade across the world. And actually, you know, in manufactures under the World Trade Organization, tariffs have now reduced to such a tiddly 3.7% maximum that it almost isn't a factor. This is the old argument, the old European argument, and it's years out of date, that unless you're in political union, people won't buy your goods. It doesn't bear reality with a modern-day global consumer society.
Yeah. So you can imagine Europe without a central authority ruling everything.
It doesn't need a central authority, and no one wants it. No one's ever given it, you know, any credibility. There have not been overwhelming referendums of endorsement for Mr. Van Rompuy being the president of Europe, or any of these jokers that inhabit the Brussels institutions. Why does Europe need that? Does Europe need a cooperative structure because we're all, you know, neighbours together inside a time zone? Almost certainly yes. And the Council of Europe that was set up in the next building to me here, as we speak in Strasbourg, was a forum to do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.